Sana lang po magkaroon tayo ng ganong political will tulad ng Singapore na mag-adapt na ng waste to energy ah, generation ng electricity. Sapagkat yun nga, maraming proponents na ng clean energy dito pa lang sa Kamara. Like si Congressman Abet Garcia. He is promoting clean energy, lalo-lalo na sa ah, paglalakbay niya, gumagamit siya ng EV.
They are encouraged, but of course, they have to conform with our Clean Air Act. And in so doing, there are new methods in order to not go around the legislation, but conform to the emission that is required in the Clean Air Act. Mr. Speaker, distinguished.
If there are existing feasibility studies, what are the end goals? When can we see its effect on our electrification efforts, as well as the improvement of our waste management system? Makikita po kaya natin within the next few years na gumagamit na tayo ng mga generators na kino-convert ang basura to electricity in the next couple of years?
We have two methods, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Yung isa is non-burn technology. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo sinusunog, ngunit it attains the same purpose by producing energy from the non-burn technology. The other one is burn technology, is still prohibited. Now, yung non-burn technology, ito po yung ni-introduce mo yung isang heat sa isang chamber wherein there is no emission. This is allowed. But it's a little bit more expensive than the usual burn technology, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. And now, Mr. Speaker, I do not see a resolution in the next 2 years unless there is a strong political will to make use of our garbage, to convert them to energy like in Singapore. In Singapore, there are 24 hours haul of garbage to an island, and they are converting it from waste to energy. Klase pong waste ang dinadala doon, wet, dry, all kinds of unsegregated waste are brought into that island, and they are subjected to various technologies to produce electricity. I know that for a fact in Singapore because I lived there for 7 years.
Sana lang po magkaroon na tayo ng ganong political will tulad ng Singapore na mag-adapt na ng waste to energy generation ng electricity. Sapagkat yun nga, maraming proponents na ng clean energy dito pa lang sa Kamara. Like si Congressman Abet Garcia. He is promoting clean energy, lalo-lalo na sa paglalakbay niya, gumagamit siya ng EV. Mostly EV na vehicles. Purely EV or hybrid. Kaya lang, minsan napupulaan yung mga gumagamit ng EV. Dahil sabi nila, hindi masyadong green ang paggamit ng EV kasi pag sinasaksak mo yung EV sa outlet, yung pinanggalingan din naman yan sa coal sa coal generators. So sumusunog ka rin ng kuryente galing sa mga traditional na mga sources, fossil fuels. Yun po yung sinasabi nila.
Mr. Speaker, agree 100% with a distinguished colleague that in the near future, we have to at least get rid of the fossil fuel electricity, and we should not use the present electricity produced in order to convert waste to energy. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished sponsor, since basura ang pinag-uusapan natin, At sa Senado, halos yun din ang pinag-uusapan. Pero ito, ibang klaseng basura naman, yung solid waste management. Meron lang pong tanong dun sa sanitary landfills in Rizal. Kung ito po bang sanitary landfill sa Rizal ay exclusive lamang sa basura ng NCR at Rizal lamang o pati yung mga karatig probinsya po nito?
Yung sa Rizal, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, tumatanggap po sila ng basura kung saan-saan for a fee. Because yung Quezon City, ang Payatas, have stopped already. So doon sila ngayon nagdadam sa San Mateo, Rizal. So Rodriguez pala, sorry. Rodriguez is isa lang yon, pero yung San Mateo, matanggap po yon ng lahat ng basura.
Lahat ng basura ng Luzon po ba? O ng
Yung nagbabayad sa kanila. Metro Manila lang.
Metro Manila lang po? Opo. Kasi po may natanggap po akong mga ulat na pati po yung Bulacan,
Bulacan.
yung mga Bulacan, Laguna, nakakapagtapon din po sa Rizal landfill natin. Dahil nagiging maparaan po yung ibang kolektor ng basura. Minsan ini-incentivize po yung pagkolekta ng garbage. So, yun daw LGU, kontrata sa mga garbage collector na hindi naman nila sakop yun, yung area na yon, nakakapagkolekta sila sa lugar na yon na hindi naman dapat nila kuhanan ng basura. Kaya lang in the process, doon daw nila tinatapon sa Rizal landfill. Ang concern ko po doon, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, baka po ma-reach na po yung limits ng facilities ng Rizal landfill kung halos yung ibang probinsya ay doon na rin po dinadala dahil nagkakaroon daw po ng kutsabahan sa mga LGUs doon sa agawan ng basura.
Mr. Speaker, yan ang pinakamagandang nangyayari sana daw sa Rizal. Kung mayroong isang proponent na gagawa ng waste to energy. So, magagamit natin yung landfill doon sa Rizal for a long period of time. Because as we dump garbage from the metropolis, we also produce power to send back to the homes in the metropolitan Manila. But at the moment, wala pa pong proponent na ganun. So I also I'm worried na time will come na mapuno yung sa Rizal na yun. And then hindi lang yung residual garbage na maiiwan doon, kung hindi pati yung methane that will accumulate in a sanitary landfill, dapat pagbawal na rin po yung methane emission to the ozone layer.
Are there contingency plans in place? Do we have for LGUs of Rizal and NCR in case ma-reach na po yung limit ng Rizal landfill?
At the moment, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, we are assured by the DNR family na hindi pa papupuno yung Rizal landfill na yun. But there are already plans of locating a new one in the near future. Just in the event na mapupuno na itong Rizal, meron tayong alternate na hindi pa natin ma-convert to energy itong waste na na-accumulate doon sa present dump site, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, we now move to DNR performance indicators for 2024. The majority of DNR's performance indicators have achieved their targets in 2024. For example, outcome indicators on increasing forest cover and increasing compliance of LGUs to the Solid Waste Management Act have met their targets. These indicators are clearly aligned with the sector outcomes of the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028 on improving environmental quality and enhancing the resiliency of ecosystems. However, these targets are set by the agencies themselves as well as the reporting of the actual accomplishments. Question number 1, has the department coordinated with other agencies for a more reliable setting of goals and performance indicators?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the answer is yes. DNR is coordinating with other agencies in order to make sure that the set goals on the program is followed.
In addition to the interagency coordination, has the department made use of oversight mechanisms for its output in the past 3 years? This is important because while we are allowed to give ourselves credits for the job well done, the picture has to be holistic.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, yes, meron po silang monitoring na kasama doon sa within DNR na nag-set nitong mga target para ma-attend po itong ating sineset na mga limit. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much po, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished sponsor, I have no other questions. Thank you po.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleague.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Presley De Jesus to interpolate the proposed budget of DNR.
The Honorable Presley De Jesus is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the good sponsor yield some questions from this representation.
Gladly, Mr. Speaker, from my distinguished colleague from the EPIC party list.
Pireka, boss.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Wrong nomenclature lang.
No problem, boss. No, okay. Boss, Arina, I noticed when you were introducing, when the majority floor introducing those guests from the DNR, mukhang napakarami ng USEC. Is that correct? How many USEC do we have? The Undersecretary?
Five non-career and 4 appointed by the President.
So,
Yan,
all in
Mr.
all,
Speaker.
our undersecretaries are 9 all in all. Is that correct? Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. So, what happened to our rationalization plan natin? So, everything, may kanya-kanya ba silang plantilla?
Mr. Speaker, yung 5, merong portfolio. Pero yung appointed by the President, walang portfolio yun. Paper bag lang ang dala. Oh, sorry. Pala ito, sagutan pala ito.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, paano ho ang kanilang MOOE? Kinakain ba nila yung ibang, yung as far as the MOOE, yung the other USEC na wala sa plantilla? Because I know it's only 5, but you said there's an additional 4.
Mr. Speaker, from the ceiling of the DNR, sila po ay nag-aalot ng MOE doon sa walang MOE.
Okay. So in short, they have their own job description as well, I guess.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, for the appointed.
Yeah. Can we know by any chance the job description of all those undersecretaries? I know some of them they've been there for the last 10 years, 15 years, but the new one can have those remaining the new 4 undersecretaries can have their plantilla position or job description nila. Kung ano yung mga yun?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, can we submit that in a matrix form to you so that it will be very
I'll
nice?
be fine, Mr. Speaker. Just give to this representation. Let me move now to my first question about service contract. First off, I would like to thank the department for providing this representation with the update on the status of service contracts. As it has committed during the budget briefing, I just have a few clarification based on the information that you provided during budget hearing. I think that was 3 weeks ago. Question first, according to your data as of March 11, 2025, there are 90 offshore wind energy service contracts
90.
issued by the DOE. Out of these 90, 16 has applied for Environmental Compliance Certificate or ECC with the DNR. Does this mean the rest of the 74 service contracts hindi na po nag-apply ng ECC? Kasi only 16 out of 90 na nag-apply ng offshore wind energy service contracts, 74 ang hindi nag-apply ng ECC. What happened?
Mr. Speaker, they're still completing the requirement. And out of the 16 mentioned, only one has been granted ECC.
So
At the moment. Because, of course, we follow the set of rules for offshore wind projects.
So right now, there's only one approved ECC. Is that correct, Mr. Speaker? Distinguished sponsor?
Issued ECC, Mr. Speaker.
Issued ECC.
Issued ECC.
So is that issued ECC? It means it's already completed all those requirements or requisites for the issuance of ECC.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the ECC is only a planning tool. Upon receipt of the ECC, the proponent now proceeds to comply with all the requirements.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much for that clarification, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor. As far as DNR is concerned, energy service contracts should apply for ECCs. Isn't it that right? Kagaya sinabi nyo kanina, once na nag-apply siya as energy service contracts, kailangan talaga nila ng ECC.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Affirmative.
Okay. So if 74 have not applied, what does that mean for their compliance? Hindi na ho ba sila tumuloy?
Mr. Speaker, ongoing po yung compliance, distinguished colleague. Ongoing yung compliance.
Ongoing pa rin.
So that they will be finally assessed whether they will be issued
Okay.
ECC or not.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor. You also provided a separate data set for OSW, the offshore wind energy projects that apply for the pre-development stage, ECC, and development stage, ECC. So these two different things. Is that different from the regularly issued ECC? Magkaiba ho ba yung pre-development stage ECC at saka yung development stage ECC doon sa regular na issue yung ECC? Are they totally different from each other o isa lang po yun?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, yung pre-development ECC is only to proceed with the studies. And then the other ECC, which is the planning tool already, you can proceed for the development.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor. You have here one ECC denied due to the project being located within a protected area. If I'm not mistaken, so what happened then? Kung na-issuean nyo ng ECC or na-deny ECC, are the service contract automatically terminated? So you issued one ECCs under the protected area. Ano ang nangyari dito?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, sometimes po talaga nadidelay sa evaluation kasi like the one that is applied for in the Verde Passage, protected area po yun. Napakalaking blue economy is derived from that passage. Mapakaraming coral ecosystems po doon. So, once that is denied, hindi na talaga sila doon. They will be asked to relocate somewhere. Kasi, yun na nga, protection area in the blue zone is part of our lifeline. Dan po nanggagaling yung ating kinakain ng mga isda at saka sea product. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished person. My next question will be, so does the DOE and DENR, meron ba kayong monthly pag-uusap or something like the task force to make sure those service contracts to be given na talagang hindi na tumatama sa mga protected areas natin or yung tinatawag natin exclusive na hindi pwedeng galawin o untouchable areas?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, meron po silang technical working group meeting from time to time in order to decide to proceed with the service contract or not. Yan po, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, I just want a ballpark figure. In your best ability, ilan po ang nag-apply po ng all kinds of energy natin na in the next 3 years may magsisimula na sa kanila? Kasi baka puro service contracts lang tayo at walang magsimula. Remember, by 2030, we need more energy because Philippine economy is growing. So gusto ko malaman how many service contracts na naibigay at the same time, within 3 years po, magsisimula na sila.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, marami po sa listahan. Pwede ba ibigay na lang namin sa inyo in one form para mas maganda yung resulta, pati yung where is the processing right now of the service contracts, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, I have no problem with that because the chairman of the Committee on Energy is no less than our boss, Pepito Alvarez, Congressman. So that will be fine because during
Thank you, Mr.
committee
Speaker.
hearing, sigurado po ano natin because you know, chairman, no, our distinguished person, kailangan natin energy, all kinds of energy. As
Thank
you
you,
know,
Mr. Speaker.
wala na po stop na po, moratorium na po ang ating call. Alam po ng ating chairman yan. So again, moving to another question, ito bang, I think 2 weeks ago, Mr. Chairman, no less than the DA, I asked them, because nga, yung mga palay natin hindi na pwede, yung swamp daw, pwede yung lagyan ng na palay. Mga swamp area, kagaya ng Candaba, so malaki po yon. Kayo ba, ang swamp bo, considered a protected area din po ba yan? Ang swamp.
Swamp. 2 kinds of swamp, Mr. Speaker. Swamp that is seawater and swamp that is freshwater. On the freshwater swamps, like the Candaba, is always being visited by our transmigratory birds from China without passport, and we consider that a protected habitat. But in order to, kung wala na talaga tayong ibang mapagtamnan ng palay, the freshwater swamp area can be converted to rice-producing areas, except for the seawater swamp, which is now being developed in China. As soon as there is development in China on the saltwater swamp, I'd like to give our distinguished colleague, Mr. Speaker, a study on how to grow rice on saltwater.
Mr. Speaker, I have no more question. He doesn't need the help of the DNR family. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Totoo yan, China? Saltwater.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, next to interpolate the sponsor, I move to recognize
My favorite interpolator, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Sergio de Gooc of APIC Party List.
The representative from APIC Party List is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Good afternoon, everyone, especially to the sponsor, our chairman of the Committee on Energy, and my favorite secretary, former secretary of the Secretary
Both from Energy,
Lotilia, and the
SPR.
rest of the DNR. Before I proceed with some few questions, may I convey my sincerest appreciation to the Mines and Geosciences Bureau of Regional Office 13 for their swift and decisive action on the reported illegal mining activities in Surigao City, based on the letter of Bishop Antonito Cabahog of the Diocese of Surigao. Acting on this finding, the MGB issued a cease and desist order effectively halting illegal placer gold mining and processing in sitio Upper Sangay and sitio Perico, Barangay Anumar, as well as in sitio Tugunan, Barangay Mabini. This decisive enforcement underscores the DNR's commitment to upholding environmental laws and safeguarding our communities. Pero sana nagawa na natin yon bago nangyari. But anyway, because of your swift action, natigil na po yung homily sa bawat mas na ginagawa. Kasi yan yung magiging homily ng mga pari, yung mga nung hindi pa nag-order ng cease and desist. No? Now, to my few questions, o the chairman on the Committee on Energy and the sponsor yield to some clarificatory questions on the performance of the DNR on their mandate.
Gladly, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished sponsor. Is it true, distinguished sponsor, that based on the result of our environmental health, worldwide, the Philippines ranks 157th out of 180 countries in mitigating threats to aquatic ecosystems and 197th out of 220 in the Ocean Health Index. Tama po ba yung data na yon, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, I could have provided the answer right away. But in order to be accurate, we will go and check all the items asked in the question, and we will submit it, Mr. Speaker, to our distinguished colleague.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, for the interest of time, we will just consider na tama po yun. No? Just consider na tama po yun. So, with that result of the survey, I have observed that the Coastal and Marine Ecosystems Rehabilitation Sub-Program of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources posted the lowest budget utilization in 2024, obligating only 77.2% of funds and disbursing just 69.8% of the total amount allocated to the program. This underperformance resulted to 2.03 billion in unused appropriation for the year 2024. Tama po ba yun?
One minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session will now resume. Honorable Alvarez now recognized.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the propounded question on the shoreline economies. Last year, we have a budget to establish these marine stations. But in the course of the procurement, they are still on the before award basis. Kaya wala pa silang kompletong datos na maibigay as of now, Mr. Speaker. But there is a catch-up plan on the underutilization of budget for our shoreline underperformance. So if the Speaker and the good sponsor will accept we are going to submit the catch-up plan not later than October or November this year, so that in the next year we will be at par already with our targets on our shoreline protection. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, kaya ko po yon tinanong. Kasi taga-Dinagat po ako, taga-Siargao. Like the distinguished sponsor who is living in Palawan. Tuwing may masamang panahon, napakalaking tulong po yung mga mangroves. So, even Yarilco and Delco, no, is joining always yung mangrove planting. So, kaya nababahala po ako as an islander na medyo unutilized yung pundo natin, 2.3 billion based on the data of the DBM, 2.3 billion yung hindi natin na gamit sa marine ecosystems rehabilitation sub-program. I agree na may ano kayo, I understand na you have a catch-up plan. Sana ma-implement natin yon kasi sayang yung pundo tapos hindi natin gamit. Sana may ayos natin yung problema, kung ano man yung problema na nagiging dahilan na underutilize yung pundo na yan. Now, on the other issue, in accountability and conservation targets and alignment with national plans, how does the DNR justify that based on the data, there is a sharp decline in ambition reflected in its performance indicators for biodiversity recovery? Binabaan po natin yung target natin, percentage sa biodiversity recovery. For example, the target for percentage increase in forest cover has been reduced to only 0.01% in 2025 and 0.11% in 2026. Tama po ba yung data ko? Distinguished sponsor, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, totoo po yun, Mr. Speaker, binabaan natin yung target dahil there are reasons inherent to it.